Though this is Baruch Fleischman, and we're back with another shiur on the ultimate connection with God, the seven-step guide to Jewish spirituality. And this is no joke. This is Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran. Let's see if my life can get a little bit too much reflection here. He wrote this book, and he spent a lot of time thinking about this, let me tell you. So a lot of this I actually learned with Rabbi Mimran. Could use it more often and get better at it. And so therefore we're going to go into it. We're going to try to read it. Now he did something really, really nice in this book. He made his little lessons very short. Very short. That's all that you have here. So he writes here, I like to look at the back sometime just to give us an idea of where he's going, because he summarizes and he says what a dreadful affliction it is to be unable to stop thinking. Now, who ever thought that before? We don't even realize how handicapped our compulsive thoughts make us. So you see that definitely the way that you've been looking at yourself and what you're going through in your life, I'll give you some examples, like I'm in the bill pay department of our family business. And somebody sent a bill that was completely and totally erroneous. So I called the customer service. Well, it turns out that they have a long introductory speech about how they change companies. And then when you start asking that you want to try to talk to somebody because there's a mistake on the bill, they keep bringing you around and around and around to the same format again, and you never get through. Just very frustrating. So in the middle of this, it's just work. It is possible to stop and think about what's going on in your mind as you become more and more emotional about the frustration. This is just something that I was thinking about today. So let's look at section 1, calming the storm of the mind. And he says it's called part 1, the compulsive thinker. It says like this, the human mind is not a domesticated animal, but rather seems to have a mind of its own, beyond the will of the thinker. So it's like going at its own pace, it does its own thing. Anyone who has ever tried to concentrate on a subject, any time that you've tried to concentrate on something, how about davening? How about going to Shemona Esrei? Only to have his mind drift to other thoughts, is aware of this. Sometimes it seems that the more one tries to control one's thoughts, so then you're in the middle of the Shemona Esrei, you're trying to commute that Shem, you try to control your thoughts. The more they refuse to be controlled. It is strange that most people have never given a thought to their thoughts. Nobody ever thinks about what's going on in thinking. Thoughts are so much a part of our being that we take them for granted. One of the first things in meditation is learning how to not take our thoughts for granted, but really start thinking about what we are thinking. One moment, please. Uh-oh. Got a new phone, and I don't really know how to answer it, so we got it off. It says that when we identify too strongly with our minds, so our minds are us, our thoughts become compulsive. What a dreadful affliction it is to be unable to stop thinking. Many of us have this. Stay up at night because your thoughts are running away with you and you're bothered by all of them. But the sad truth is that most of us are compulsive thinkers, and because we are surrounded constantly by our own mental chatter, we don't even realize how handicapped our compulsive thoughts make us. In fact, we consider that state to be normal. Now let me bring this down a little bit lower. I see that it's a little far, so I'm going to bring it down lower and see if this will work. But is far from normal, Rabbi Mimran says. A mind that is constantly thinking doesn't allow you to reach that critical state of inner stillness that you need in order to access the vitality of your neshama. The place where your true normal self lies is buried, I guess he's saying, underneath your thoughts. And there is more. Compulsive thinking creates a deceptive shadow that envelops you with fear and suffering. Always thinking about what's going to be tomorrow, what happened to me, or that thing that insulted me or hurt me in the past. Thus, almost every one of us, for most of us are compulsive thinkers, live in a world that is impossibly complex, a world that is characterized by a stream of never-ending problems and conflict, and a world in which we, that is, helpless victims, that we are, because we're born with it, experience ever more severe fragmentation of the mind, as we are pulled in far too many directions at once. All the overthinking we do catapults us into a state of perceived separateness, a feeling of me against the world is against me, these are my thoughts, this is what I see. Can we step on the brakes? Can we break the habit of compulsive thinking, quiet our minds, and achieve not a state of separateness, but a state of connectedness? Now this is interesting. He says that what your thoughts do is they separate you, I guess, from that still quiet mind that we are looking for, but we need a state of connectedness. What a wonderful thing that would be. Being connected means being at one with the world, at one with life as you experience and understand it, at one with your deepest self, at one with your own neshama, and at one with your Creator. Being connected means being at peace, because in this state, all conflict is dissolved. You rise above it. Imagine a life without conflict. It is definitely achievable. Let us set this type of life as our objective. So you have to teach us here how we're actually going to reach this. Have patience with yourself and with the process. So, as together, step by step, we learn to make this our new normal state, we can do this. What a dreadful affliction it is to be unable to stop thinking. We don't even realize how handicapped our compulsive thoughts make us. These are words of Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran. This is Baruch Fleischman for the Tikkun Elevator Kollel. Hope you're enjoying this shiur.